You are listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental health in bite-sized chunks. Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and in today's episode, I thought we would dive into one of my go-to tools and skills for helping to resolve conflict and learning how to communicate with the people that we care about when we're struggling with a disagreement. So let's jump right in. This tool that I use is called nonviolent communication. So this was developed by Marshall Rosenberg and is a framework for communication that emphasizes on empathy, compassion, honest expression. And it's about connecting with others on a deeper level to understand needs and responding with empathy and respect. So oftentimes when we're in conflict with someone, we're missing the part of what is the need that they're trying to ask us to meet. So we're trying to meet them with what they're asking us to do, or we're not understanding from their perspective what it is that they're struggling with or what it is that they're trying to communicate to us. So Marshall Rosenberg has developed this model that allows us to dig a little bit deeper under the surface of the conversations that we're having, especially with our loved ones, to get a deeper understanding of what it is that they're needing from us and what it is that they're truly trying to communicate. There are 4 components of nonviolent communication. The first one is observation. So this is stating the facts without judgment or evaluation. So I always like to say, imagine there's a fly on the wall observing whatever's happening in the room. What is it that they're seeing? Right? So what is it that they're hearing? What can I say without any kind of argument from anyone who would also observe the situation? So instead of saying you're always late, you could say something like, you've arrived 15 minutes late for the last 3 times that we were supposed to meet, right? So it's a factual statement rather than kind of embellishing with our impact or the impact that it's having on us. So the second component of nonviolent communication is our feelings. So this step involves identifying and expressing whatever feeling we're having. What are the emotions that we're experiencing? So for instance, we could say, you're so inconsiderate, but that doesn't really tell the person how we're feeling, right? We're now judging that person. We're placing a judgment on what they think and believe. So we could say instead, I'm feeling hurt and disappointed when you're late, right? So again, kind of going off of this example of someone arriving late. So you've arrived 15 minutes late for the last 3 meetings, and I'm feeling hurt and disappointed when you do show up late. So the third component of nonviolent communication is needs. And this is the step that I think that we often miss, right? We don't even know that this is something that we should be sharing with the people that we're trying to communicate with. So the needs is to identify the underlying need that's driving the feeling that you're having. So for example, you might say, I need reliability within our relationship. So when you arrive 15 minutes late, I feel hurt and disappointed, and I need reliability in our relationship. So this is communicating why I'm feeling a certain way and the impact that it's having when they're doing the behavior that we've observed. And finally, we are moving to the fourth component of nonviolent communication, which is the request. So this involves making a clear and specific request of the other person. So instead of demanding, you should always be on time, we could instead say something, I would appreciate it if you could let me know that you're going to be late. So with the first 3 components of nonviolent communication, these are non-negotiable. These are our experience of whatever is happening in between 2 people or more people. And the fourth one is where we can have a little bit of flexibility. So this is where we're asking the person to show up in a different way. We're saying, hey, can you do this for me? So in this case, we're saying, can you let me know when you're late? So there might be some negotiation here as to what that person might be able to offer in order to meet the need that we're saying is reliability. So perhaps they might not be able to let us know that they're running late, but maybe they can apologize if they're not able to let us know in advance. Or maybe they might need to reschedule or plan differently in order to make sure that they're not late. So the request is where we can have a bit of negotiation. So these are the four components of nonviolent communication: the observation, the feeling, the need, and the request. So when we can break down what we're trying to communicate to someone in these four components, we can gain a deeper understanding of what it is that I'm trying to communicate. And hopefully the person that we're communicating to is also going to understand this in a more deeper way. So by truly understanding what someone else is saying, we need to be listening. We need to actively be listening to what the other person is saying. So this involves paying attention to their words, to their body language, and to the emotions and feelings that they're sharing. When we hear someone sharing their feelings and their needs, can we try to respond with empathy and understanding? Can I get curious about what that person is saying to me rather than jumping to defensiveness or judgment, assuming that I've done something wrong? So we want to understand from that person's perspective, what are they trying to communicate before I jump to defending myself and saying I didn't do anything wrong. By using nonviolent communication, there's many benefits. So we can improve our relationships because we have a deeper understanding of the other person. We can resolve conflicts more easily because it takes that initial jump to defensiveness or judgment out of the conversation. We're trying to avoid those judgments. We're trying to avoid placing assumptions onto the other person. So it's easier to come to a resolution of our conflict. We're going to increase our understanding of ourselves because we're doing that reflection instead of just blurting out whatever feeling or judgment that we have coming right out of our mouth. We're taking time to reflect what is really going on for me and how can I communicate to that person. So it helps us understand our own emotions and needs better. And finally, it enhances our communication skills. So this is a skill that we can use that helps us to change the way that we're thinking about communicating. It changes the way that I'm trying to share with people in my life. And hopefully that's going to lead to more effective and respectful communication. So nonviolent communication is a really powerful tool. This is something that I teach pretty much all of my clients at some point or another, because I think it's so helpful in changing how I'm thinking about communicating and hopefully allowing for more peaceful communication in those really important relationships in our lives. So it can transform how we are connecting with others. So by practicing nonviolent communication, we can create more compassionate and understanding in our relationships and in the world. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something about nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And until next time, may you communicate with others kindly. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts on Apple and Android. New episodes are released every Friday. If you enjoyed today's episode, please join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on Spotify. You can find all these details on janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.